And here we go. Hey, everybody. My head is in a small little screen today. Welcome to the Autism Fitness Tuesday training video. I, of course, am Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement and bringing you, yes, you, and possibly your friends and colleagues, more information about how to deliver the best possible fitness and adapted PE programs for the autism and neurodivergent individuals that you serve on a daily, possibly weekly, but very likely daily basis. So in this edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday Training, we are going to do a video analysis, and I invite you to send me your athlete videos as long as you have permission to send them over to me. I would love to review them on a future edition of Tuesday Training. And one of the things that I love most about this is the opportunity to not just talk about a concept or strategy, but see how it plays out, how we utilize it in autism fitness programming on a regular basis, and whether they are concepts about the exercises themselves, technique, coaching, programming, positive behavior support, all of the things we can talk about, but how do they actually look, sound, and function in the real world when we're actually working with our real athletes. So, of course, before we get started, please definitely subscribe, and of course, share this video with someone for whom it might make a difference. So I'm going to move myself to the left or right, depending on your orientation there. And here we go. So we're going to be looking at a set of band rows today with one of my teenage athletes. And the reason I love band rows so much, in addition to the fact that it is a fantastic upper back exercise, scapular retraction, getting the lats, there's a grip strength component to it. You're even getting a little bicep stimulus and some shoulder stimulus there as well, mainly an upper back strengthening exercise. But in addition to that, there is trunk stability and there is rooting with the feet, which, if you don't already know, is a big deal for many individuals on the autism spectrum. Rooting is the ability to ground the feet. It's the perfect time of year for that. Also, it being spring and planting season. We also want to root the feet because the more stable the ground contact is during a strength exercise, the better the athlete is going to be able to execute that movement. So we want those feet rooted and stable whenever the athlete is performing an exercise like a squat or a press, or in this case, a band row, any activity that does not require locomotion, meaning the feet are moving. And even if so, we want a firm foot plant. But in the case of a static exercise, meaning the feet need to be in the same place throughout the entirety of the exercise, we want to focus from the floor up, looking at the feet, looking at the knees, looking at the hips. What is everything doing? What is its place? And you'll find when you implement this exercise, and of course, in order to implement it correctly every single time, you definitely want to be an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, because in the course we teach you how to do that. In order to do that, we want to analyze that movement pattern from the very start. So when you're implementing the standing band row or using a cable for more advanced athletes, we want to start with foot position first. So let's start this here. I'm going to pause it a couple times. Now we have a motivated athlete here. So if we're looking at this through the lens of the PAC profile, physical, adaptive, cognitive, and we're looking at the analysis or assessment of this athlete is ready to go. You can see that right foot is in the red ring, that left foot is in the blue ring. He is set. That's a really good foot position, and you can notice both his forefoot and his heel are firmly planted exactly where they need to be. He is set up good right here. So you'll notice I do the handoff here. So a couple things. I do the handoff, and you see that his handle position as far as his hands is really, really good. So meaning, we'll give an operational definition of good here, meaning I'm going to move myself up here, or should I move myself down here? Anyway, hand position is great because he has a full, firm grip on the handles. You'll notice, or you may have already noticed, that many individuals on the autism spectrum do not have a full grip on a handle or another object. They'll use 3 fingers, they'll use 4 fingers. They might bunch their fingers up. So oftentimes the grip component is something that we need to work on. Not in the case of this particular young man here. And you'll also notice, so my positioning is not in front of the athlete, not behind the athlete, as an invasion of space that might be, and an unnecessary one at that. I am to the side of the athlete. Why am I to the side of the athlete? Because I only want to provide as much prompting here or support as is necessary for the athlete to complete this band row as independently as possible. My goal is to be able to step away from this and have this guy perform that standing band row completely independent of my meddling in here, which is necessary right now. But as we continue to go on with the days and weeks and months, my goal is to be able to step back and allow that athlete to perform that exercise as independent as possible. But we're not there just yet. And this, by the way, for context, is only a couple of sessions in with this particular athlete. So for him to become acquainted with the exercise, familiarize himself, he's going to need to do a certain amount of sets and repetitions in order for that to happen. You'll also see with the band, because that band is pulling the athlete back, so the athlete has to get used to the fact that there is resistance on the way back with that band. That's the that's the whole pull aspect of it. It's pull, and don't allow yourself to be pulled. Many of our athletes, even when they independently master overhead presses and even squats to the box, or a box squat as it is, and some of the other exercises that we have in the strength phase of our programming, the standing band row is still one that needs a little extra support here. Let's take a look. So you'll notice right here again, strong pull, great grip. The athlete here has a tendency to want to lower his hands, and that's basically because he hasn't developed a feel for the exercise yet. Sometimes we refer to that as the mind-muscle connection, but because he hasn't performed this exercise many times, we have to understand that the expectation for performance from his perspective, this is where we get into empathetic coaching, we're thinking about his perspective. He's never done this exercise before, or he's done it far too few, finally got it out there, far too times for him to really have a sense of where his hands need to be, where those elbows need to be, where those shoulders need to be. And that's why I'm supporting him through the movement here, right? So that is a nice slow pullback. And what we're seeing now, super common. The athlete has a really good controlled concentric, the pulling portion, so the hands are coming towards the sides or towards the lats or towards the armpits, wherever we want to say those hands are coming in. However, when the athlete goes into the eccentric portion of that movement, the arms are going forward very quickly. And when the arms are going forward very quickly, it starts to limit the amount of eccentric control and thus hypertrophy and strength building. So this is where this exercise can go awry with respect to having that training effect. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it just so happens that it did. We want that training effect, and if we want that training effect, then that movement needs to be slow and controlled on the way back. So I am providing that support to the band. Notice I don't even have to go hand over hand or hand over wrist. I can just get my hand onto the band here or inside one of those loops and guide the athlete through the movement. So we'll look at that one more time. We want that steady control back that he already has. And then I'm just helping him to control it a little bit slower each time in that eccentric. So the goal here, so you see him bend back, and this is not a terribly bad thing either. When he bends back, that means there's a little bit of an over pull right there. He's not coming off of balance too egregiously, but he knows, he's familiar with the idea of really pulling that band back, which is great. So now we have an athlete who is getting close to mastering the concentric, the pulling part of the exercise, where you will find many of your athletes needing that additional support is in that eccentric control, going forward there. All right. So the standing band row, to recap, is a wonderful exercise, not just for its primary component or action or result, which is strengthening the upper back, getting some shoulder strength, certainly grip and trunk stability right here, looking at rooting. So there is, if we want to call it that, a core component of this exercise, but also teaching that slow concentric and even slower eccentric control when the arms are going forward, so that we are juicing all of the wonderful juice that there is to be juiced out of that exercise here. So great exercise, and like so many different other exercises that we use in our autism fitness programming, it's a tool, and we need to understand how to implement it from a programming perspective, meaning where in the program should it fit, how many sets, how many reps, how do we progress it, and just as, if not more so important, how do we modify the exercise and provide just enough support so the exercise is doing the thing that it needs to be doing in order to get our athletes stronger, more stable, and moving better. So I hope this analysis has been helpful for you. Again, this is just a snapshot of one set for this athlete. And if the athlete is doing 3 or 4 or 5 different sets, each set might look a little bit different, but our goal is to get continuity and have each set and each repetition be as good as it possibly can for that athlete, regardless of how much support they need. And we as coaches, as practitioners, as Autism Fitness Certified Pros, can determine where we need to be and how we need to implement this movement so the athlete gets the absolute most out of it. So again, if you have videos that you'd like me to analyze of your athletes in a future edition of Tuesday Training, email them on over to me, and definitely in the comments below, let me know if this has been helpful for you, if you have further questions about the band row, programming in general, or how we can support our athletes to be at the top of their fitness game so we can develop strength, stability, and motor planning that shows up or generalizes in other areas of daily living, because that is the goal. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, then the link is in the description below, but you can quantum leap that. I don't think that's the correct terminology there, but you can jump that and just put autismfitness.com into your browser, learn all about the Autism Fitness certification and the different levels of certification, and our Autism Fitness Site certification program, in which you have my direct support all throughout the year once you begin implementing your program. You can learn all about that, all of your questions answered, and if all of your questions are not answered, you can always reach out to me and I will answer all of your questions. I'm Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement. Thank you for watching. Please, again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, put a comment down there, and share this video with someone for whom it would make a gigantic difference, because fitness is the gateway to a healthier, more independent, more robust quality of life. Thanks for watching.